One of the problems with leaving your boat on the mooring all year round is that you've got to make sure it's secure. Now lucky for us, we only just live up the valley here, so we're able to just walk down and check that the mooring is secure and that we haven't had any chafe. This is an 8-plait nylon bridle and it goes to a Dyneema rope shackle up here, and then we've got a chain here, and then from that chain we've got 3 meters of chain, and then it goes to another bridle. If we look over there, you can see there's another 2 lengths of chain, and they go to individual ground anchors that go into the beach. Because it's a marine conservation zone, we have had to use ground screws here. We haven't had to use, but we've chosen to use ground screws as they have the minimum of impact on the environment. Basically, they're a screw that drives into the sand. It's got 2 discs on it, one small disc at the bottom end and a larger disc higher up. And we had them modified locally by a blacksmith, and then we came down with a scaffold pole and we basically wound them into the sand, and they can be seen just over here underneath my foot here. If I kick a bit and everything, and you can just see the shackle there that attaches to the ground anchor. So we put the mooring screws in when we first put the boat on the water 12 years ago. Because they deep down into the sand, they're anaerobic and they don't corrode as much as the surface chain. So we don't use galvanized chain because the sand abrades them. Every time the boat dries out, the chain gets rubbed on the sand, and if you had galvanizing, it would be eroded off very quickly, and it's just not worth the extra expense. You can see we've got quite small chain on, and we're going to replace it because at this area here, if I show you, that has lost quite a lot of thickness already, and that's just one season. So we're going to put thicker chain on because here is quite exposed, and the boat has seen probably 100 miles an hour on this mooring. I think looking at the mooring all around, even from the ropes to the chain, you can see the wear beginning to occur. When the chain's doing this, often when the boat's drying out and it's in the wind and everything, it's surprising how much abrasion occurs in these areas. After a year or so, or a couple of years, we'll chop that link off and we'll go to that link, we'll move this down. So we've got a little bit of adjustment in the length of chain we've got because certain parts of it get much more wear than the others. I've bought the 19mm in the dinghy, dropped it over the side, and it's lying just behind the camera person. Let me drag some chain over and then we can compare the difference in diameter. Here's the length of the 19mm. We can put it alongside. So this is the shiny new chain, that's the old chain. You can see the differences in diameter. Looks nice and shiny now. It's got a bit of coating of oil, but it'll soon corrode very rapidly. I'm just sorting out, there's 2 of the same length and the third one is slightly longer, so that I know when I put them together which one is to go where. They all look the same length to me. I'm now going to see if I can undo these shackles rather than cut them off. I tend to reuse them, so I'm just going to see if I can get them to undo. I take the buoys off every year anyway, rather than leave it on, and then the cage of the chain works more effectively on the mooring. So I'm just going to cut the cable tie, and I'm going to take that off and make sure that it doesn't pollute the environment. And what I'm going to do is undo this one, and try and undo the other shackle, and just replace this bit of chain first, because obviously if I have a problem, I need the boat to remain moored. The boat's got to stay attached, and the tide comes in and out whether I want it to or not. Just going to bash it both ways. That's always hard because the chain is prone to moving around. Here we go. Thread looks as though it's giving up a bit, and there seems to be a couple of threads holding on there. Got to do the other one now. So that's one undone, and so we're going to replace this length of chain before the tide comes in. Okay, so that one's loose. I'll drop that chain off. Oh, my back's breaking. I'm just going to drag this new bit of chain. I'm going to take the existing pin. I'm going to put him back in there, if he will go back in there. We've got too much sand on that, so I'm going to just wash it off. You can see that thread's really worn now. It's still holding, but the thread's on the way out on that one. I've done the wrong thing there, so I'm going to have to undo it again. Always happens with you doing stuff. That's what we want to do. So that's pulling nicely on the pin. So now I'm going to go to the other end and do the same.
Put this one on here.
So we've sort of got the chain on. I'm just undoing this bungee line off the existing chain. We use this to tension up on our mooring, and what this does is puts a bit of a cage in the chain. So it's just a way of sort of tensioning it, and I have to be a wee bit careful. Hurt my hands doing this last time. This also shortens the chain, so when it's windy and the boat dries out, the boat often hangs on this rather than on the chain, and it stops the moorings getting too close to each other, and you can see its effect. And so I'll come down tomorrow and we'll do this end, but basically we've got the new bits of chain on. It's quite a lengthy job because it's quite heavy work and you've got to do it in between the tides. Okay, I'm just gonna uncover the chain. It's the next day, and you can see by looking at the ground that the ground anchors are now deeper under the sand. One of the chains has been buried a bit.
Okay, so that's that one. Something under here. Oh, here we are. Okay, so that's the shackle into the ground screw there. So hopefully we can get that one undone. Give ourselves some room.
Okay, well I might let the tide go out a bit further, and I'm going to try and dig out the other side.
Which is here, I believe. This one's accessible here. Okay, so we've washed it off so we can see what we're doing. I'm just going to snap the cable tie, and then hopefully this big cranky thing I bought this time with a bit more leverage on it. And what we'll probably do on this one is that apply a bit of grease so that when we come to undo it again, we can actually undo it. Coming undone nicely. That's the top of the ground screw. This needs a bit of a clean. Just going to wash it off, and then I'm going to grease it before I put it back in. Greasing them actually makes them last longer. The chain just won't quite reach there, so I'm going to just relieve the bungee that's got this cage of chain, and this will give us the extra distance we need. Not quite.
I'm a couple of inches short.
Pretty much nearly there. Very close. It's when you need more than one person.
Are you going to try and pull?
I was going to try and pull, yeah.
Okay.
2, 3. Yep. Thanks for that. So I've snugged that up, and then I'm going to use a cable tie to just make sure that if there's a chance of it coming undone, and then I'll also bury it again so it's under the sand. Oh, look who was sitting there. What's the crab? Shore crab. Oh, sorry guy. Let me bury him again. I'm trying to uncover treasure, our mooring treasure. Dig a gully, you know how we dig on the beach.
Okay, I can see what's going on now.
Still looks in pretty good condition.
I don't know if I can access this side to get the thing undone.
And so that's come undone easy because it was greased.
All these tools are going to be washed out. They've been working in the marine environment.
So while I'm here, I'm going to replace this shackle, which we put on yesterday, but you can see there's a lot of wear on this one. And the one I've taken off down there has got a lot less wear than here. Might be a bit tricky getting it all back together again, but I'll give it a go. And I've got my great assistant to help me.
Okay, take that, put those two together.
Don't really want to drop this in the sand
because it clogs the threads up.
Okay, I need a bit of assistance. Oh, shit. Just rinse it in that bucket over there.
Oh, okay.
Need to just get my tools so that I
don't leave them buried on the sand.
Okay, so we've replaced the front mooring, so that should make us safe for this year. And obviously during the year, whenever we have a big storm or anything, I always wander down and check the boat because it's hanging on these bits of chain. And now we've just got to do the whole same procedure for the rear mooring. We'll do a separate video about splicing up the 8 braid and making the bridle and the rope shackles as well.